Hello students, Ms. Slyman here. Now we're going to talk about polynomial division, and this is where the math starts to get really fun. So we've been breaking polynomials up by factoring them, and we've been doing that using a bunch of different methods, one of which is just to look at it and sort of have this idea that if we see a positive 6, that means we have to multiply negative 2 times negative 3, or 1 times 6, or negative 1 times negative 6. And so we sort of just look at it, but what if we can't just look at it and we want to figure things out? So if x minus 2 is a factor of this, then I would know a factor means that it goes in evenly. So the idea is that if I divide this polynomial by this factor, the remainder should be 0. So we do long division of polynomials in the same way we learned how to do long division as a child. So we set it up with our division bar here, and we put the bigger polynomial, the one that's being divided, inside, and then we put the one that we want to divide by on the outside. And in the end, this quantity, the divisor, times the quotient. If it divides evenly, I'm going to have no remainder, and this times this should make this in the end. So if I start with x and I need to end up with x cubed, that means we have to multiply x by x squared. So I'm going to line up the x squared. X times x squared, that's x squared. Negative 2 times x squared, sorry, x times x squared is x cubed. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Well, now I'm going to subtract this quantity from the whole quotient. When I do this subtraction, I always think, draw the line, change the signs, because we're subtracting that whole quantity. Negative times negative would make positive. So when I subtract, I should always have that first term eliminate. So we would have 0. And we don't really need to write the 0. Negative 5x squared plus 2x squared, negative 3x squared. There's no like term with the 4x, so it just comes down. No like term with the 2, it just comes down. So now I need to multiply x times something to make negative 3x squared. Again, I'm lining things up, so I need a minus 3x. When I multiply, the first term should always match. So here we matched with x cubes, and now I need to match 3x squared with something else. So negative 3x times x will make negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times negative 2 makes positive 6x. Again, I'm going to draw my line. So negative 3x negative 2. Okay, draw the line, and when I draw the line, I'm thinking of subtracting this whole thing. So I'm going to subtract, so negative times negative would make positive. If I subtract, I'm going to subtract 6x. So again, we have canceling, which should happen. 4x minus 6x is negative 2x minus 2. Now I'm going to line up. I want a term here to multiply times x to get negative 2x. That's going to be negative 2. Negative 2 times x, negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Draw the line, change the sign. So draw the line and subtract. I get a 0. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Since I have a remainder, there's nothing that I can multiply x by to get negative 6. So I have a remainder, so is this a factor? No. There is a remainder. All right, so we're going to look at some more division in upcoming videos.